Welcome to Learned in Go-Go, the podcast. Hey, it is Thursday night. I am Sydnee A., your host and author of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, How a Preacher's Daughter Pole Danced Her Way to Finding Her True Self. I am super stoked to be here live this week, and I just want to once again thank all of you who have been following me on this journey. I appreciate you guys so much. You have no idea. Especially tonight, we had kind of a last-minute change of plans. I was super excited to have my first guest, Mark from the Great Media Comic-Con. And unfortunately, last minute change of plans, but it's okay. We're going to have him on at a later date, whenever that works out. And I'm super stoked for that. But in the meantime, please check out the Great Media Comic-Con if you are in Delco. It's in Media, PA. I went last year and I really didn't have a whole lot of Comic-Con experience. So this was it may have been my first. I know I did a video game con before, so this may have been my first Comic-Con. It was so much fun. You don't have to be totally immersed in comics to have a good time. There's vendors, there's artists, there's food trucks. There's so much. It's just a really fun event. So please check it out. You can get your tickets. They're on sale now. And I share a lot of the content on my social media. So either go to the Great Media Comic-Con or my pages to check out more. So Frankie and I have... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I jumped in there. Yeah, it's super unfortunate that we had a little, we had a hiccup. Mark will be joining us at a later date. But yeah, we definitely want to still, give the plug for the Media Comic-Con. I've been asked, and with conversations leading to, I'm actually going to be there doing photography for the Media Comic-Con, and some other things are in the works too. That will also be involved, having Sydnee A. involved, and we got some really cool things that we'll chit chat with Mark about at a later time. But yeah, it's unfortunate we couldn't get him on here tonight. And but yeah, be sure to still get those tickets. The dates are April 12th, 13th, and 14th. And April 12th being the screening of Back to the Future with Claudia Wells as a celebrity. I think there's a Q&A at some point. But you can get all the information on that as well. That's a separate ticket that you have to buy for it. But yeah, looking forward to that. That should be a good one. It's my first Comic-Con too as well.
Oh, wow. So just a little side note, Back to the Future will be the first mainstream movie that they have shown in that theater in 30 years, which I think is pretty cool. Pretty cool. So yeah. So all that to say, if you follow me on social media, if you have read my book, you know that I am constantly all about the pivot. And sometimes you have things planned out and you think you know what's going on, and then life goes, hey, guess what? Psych. So you just pivot. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And Frankie has agreed to let me pull him into the conversation. And we're going to attack the topic of habits tonight, which is pretty cool. First of all, I named it Breaking the Habit. I'm a humongous Linkin Park fan. Are you a Linkin Park fan, Frankie?
Yeah, it's funny because I like a lot of their music. So the thing with me with music is I always try to shoot shows over than going to see them, but there's only 2 or 3 bands that I really would want to go see. And Dave Matthews being one of them. Pearl Jam is probably another one that I would want to I'll pay money to go see. Other than that, well, actually that's not true, because there's one time, and I'll have to do a little plug here. Everybody can notice that I'm drinking my drink out of a red Solo cup. Toby Keith was actually one of the first artists that I've actually seen live. So definitely got to give a little plug to the main man here.
Toby I was going to say, cheers to him. I do not have a red Solo cup. I have a pink shaker cup, but this is still in memory of Toby Keith.
Yeah, Toby was awesome.
I was telling Frankie, I listen to everything. If you looked at my liked songs, it goes from hair bands to death metal to show tunes to country. I like a little bit of everything. And when my husband and I got together, I used to sing Toby Keith at him all the time because his name's Dave. So in the song As Good As I Once Was, he talks about his best friend Dave, and he just goes, I said Dave. So I used to torture my poor husband with that line.
That's a great line too. And
Yeah.
it's about the big old biker man. I said, Dave, I ain't as good as I once was. Yeah. My happy years have fallen.
If Dave was out here because you mentioned Pearl Jam, I have to tell this story too. I think I may have told you this, Frankie.
Tell me.
We got tickets to see Pearl Jam at the Spectrum when the Spectrum was going to be knocked down. It wasn't the last show, but it was the show before the last show. And this does tie into habits too, because I've changed my habit of tailgating before concerts after this show. So we were all excited. We're out in the parking lot, start drinking, go in, start drinking more. I don't even know who the opening band was. I don't remember. But Pearl Jam takes the stage and they're on there for about 45 seconds when I'm like, we got to go. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I think I'm going to be sick. He's like, you think or you are? I'm like, I am. So we have to leave he got to see Pearl Jam for like 45 seconds. I'm not even exaggerating. Hey. We drive home. My head's in a bag the whole time. I'm so sick, and get home. And he's so proud of me that I made it in the bag the whole time. And he opens the door and I swing the bag to him and I just explode it all over him. And he married me anyway.
That's outrageous.
That's when you need to that's when you need to change bad habits, like keep it under control. Like, Sid, come on, what was I thinking? So to this day, he busts my stones, rightfully so, about that experience, because it was a big deal to see Pearl Jam when the Spectrum was closing.
Yes. So. I got to see Pearl Jam at one of the best shows I ever saw, which was when they played at the Wells Fargo Center. They did back-to-back, but I went to night one. It was incredible. Night two, they started off with the same song, but they were a banner was being dedicated to them for their 10th consecutive sellout. So they changed their entire set list and played the entire 10 album in its entirety.
That is awesome.
First time it was ever done. They started doing it more that tour, but first time it was ever done. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, okay, once, and then Even Flow, and then Alive. And I was like, holy shit. I think they're playing the entire album. And Eddie Vedder didn't say a word up until he got the release. And then he addressed the crowd. Fucking lost it.
That's even more incredible that you weren't expecting it.
No, nobody was.
Surprise. Here's the whole album. That's really fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, but I feel for Dave on that one. I'm gonna have to get him to a Pearl Jam show.
Yeah, I still feel so bad.
You should. You should. You're not getting any sympathy from me. You absolutely should. I'm gonna have to talk to the guy. Fair. Where's he at?
That is fair. No, he's doing his Dave stuff.
All right, doing Dave stuff.
He's taking care of the dogs so they're not in my face while we do this. That's
they love to make their appearances. They love to make their appearances for sure. But yeah, happy to be doing this tonight. We got a good show in store. It should be a fun one. So I'll kick it back to Sydnee, and we can get started. How are you doing, by the way, Sid? I guess.
I am just jolly. I am super excited. It's Thursday, so that means podcast day, which is like so exciting. And I really I need to again thank Frankie for inviting me on his podcast, My Crazy Exes, which completely lit a fire under my ass to do this. And I'm super excited that he's on this side. He's my producer and he's helping me out because it's so much fun. And again, I appreciate all of you that are going on this journey with me, because I'm totally learning this as I go. And I love all you guys.
You're doing awesome. You're doing awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. It's producing shows is a lot easier than a lot of things. Like, the little shit that I've been through that has been so difficult. This one time, I was having some issues, and I had to have a suppository injected in my butt. And producing podcasts is a lot more easier than that. So happy to help. There's one.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that it's easier than taking care of constipation. That's wonderful.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't even know how to transition into habits from that one. I was going to say the not getting in the habit of overindulging before concerts, but then we took a left there. So
We did. Sorry about that, everybody.
no, it's all good. So I talk in my book. We have to, every time I say in my book, I have to show the book about habits and about things that I have taken on in the last couple decades that are good habits. But I've definitely had bad habits too, and I know you do as well, Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pointing you out because I know you are a cigarette smoker, which I was for many years.
Yeah.
And that's
Never on a
that's
podcast
something.
now.
What's up?
Never on a podcast now. I remember this one time. This guy, no, he was a smoker, and he would just. I set him up with like an interview with like like an NHL journalist, because for those who don't know, I spent some time with the Flyers as a writer, and I do photography as well. So I set him up with a nice interview, and I'm watching the interview, and all of a sudden he pulls out a heater, and he's smoking while he's interviewing the guy live. And I remember talking to him afterwards, the guy who he interviewed. He's like, "Yo, dude, he was wild, man. We're just sitting there having a conversation. Next thing I know, he pulls out a heat. He's firing up a heater."
Gee, yeah,
I
time and
lost
place,
it.
And it's funny how like our views can change about habits too, because like there was a time when, I know I'm older than you. We bring this up every episode, but
You do.
I I was out in Pasadena, California, right when they started outlawing smoking in bars. And I was a smoker. So I was extremely against this. And, it's discrimination and this and that because you couldn't bring your drink outside, but you couldn't smoke inside. So we were all doing this dance with the cigarette outside and the drink inside, like trying to, and now that I don't smoke, I'm like, oh, thank God, like I can breathe in here, but when I used to work, I would try to at least ask a customer if I was sitting at the bar because you could smoke in bars then. I'd say, do you mind if I smoke? Like I would at least try to be courteous about my bad habit, because not everybody wants you up in their face smoking a cigarette, and I get that. But
it depends on how much clothes you have on too, Sid. I mean,
well, you'd be surprised. Some people still get that's not enough to make but I would at least try to be polite with my pollution, I used to call it.
Pollution. Yeah, I love it. I mean, when we got to do when we did the first episode, so just read we are your first care. So when Sid and I did the first episode, I actually produced the show under the stairs. I was like Harry Potter. We had gotten together and I produced the show from the basement, and I was firing up a hater every 5 minutes outside. I was like, I gotta have another one. I love it. It's absolutely delicious.
And I was like that. But it's funny when you change a habit, how much it changes how you feel about it. Because literally for decades, I was like, there's no way I will ever quit smoking. It is who I am. And I can't imagine dealing with my stress without it. And then I made the decision, I'm not telling anybody else what to do with their lives. I made the decision to stop doing that. And now 99% of the time, if I smell it, I'm just like, wow, I can't believe that I used to do that. But where was I yesterday? I came out of a grocery store or something and somebody was smoking and I'm like, damn, that smells good. But it's very few and far between now that I have that reaction to it. And quite honestly, the cost of them is astronomical. I don't know how you can afford to smoke anymore.
Not that you asked me, but I'm enjoying all these little tidbits here. So I smell around Sydnee. What else do I do wrong? No, I'm kidding. I want to give. Oh no, I know you questioned it, but we got a little comment on there. Wave from California. I saw you do the wave. If by all means, you can always acknowledge the comments for sure. We got another comment here. There we go. If we read that one, I feel the same, Cindy. Usually, I hate the smell. Every once in a while, it smells. I guess familiar, not good, but familiar. Whatever.
Right.
Nice photo in your nice photo in your profile picture.
Yes.
Yeah, I took that.
Lucy
Resident.
Hello.
Just checking some of the
I'm
comments
loving all
in
the
here.
comments. Yay.
Yeah, we got some. We got
comments. Some good... Keep them coming.
Yeah,
join the conversation, sure. Please.
Absolutely, join it. So, breaking the habit. So, one of the things that you kind of mentioned, obviously, like those natural habits that we were kind of just talking about of like smoking and stuff like that. But I know we were talking earlier, and I definitely I'll have to take the lead on it. Like those habits of gender habits, more or less, of like the way we grew up, like because like you mentioned, it's we have a couple years in between us, so I think this will be a good takes from both of us about what life was like in your household and mine, and like how because people that don't know, I also have a podcast that Sydnee was on. I just actually had my dad on there yesterday on the My Crazy Exes podcast, and we talked about some of the differences and similarities of like the way things he was with when he grew up, and mine as well. So I kind of love to hear like your take as well. Totally feel like I hosted a show right now. It's just the hosting natural in me. But yeah, let's kick it off with that a little bit.
Well, that was the thing. Like I was thinking earlier about what is a habit, and I've kind of come to terms with it's a habit if you notice it's missing when you stop doing it, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I think that yeah, right, Gina, I'm right there with you. She said someone lit up at Breaker's show and it stunk so bad. I can't believe I used to do it. You used to smoke with me, sweetie. Calling
Firing
you
them up.
But yeah, like to me, it's something good or bad that you notice if it's not there anymore. And sometimes things like one thing that I notice I do is I feel like I have to explain myself, or I always have to show receipts. And I think that's a habit that I got into growing up, always feeling like I I wasn't believed the first time that I said something. So I got in the habit of, okay, well, I need to do this, but this is why I have to do it, and this is why, and this is who I'm going to do it with, and giving way too much information that's not necessarily needed, but I felt that I always had to prove that I was telling the truth. And that's an odd habit. It's not like I'm biting my nails, but it's a habit that I've gotten into with my personality, that I'm trying to just be like, it's okay to just say no. I don't have to give a 10-minute speech of why it's no. It's just no. No is a complete sentence. So I'm learning that.
And one of our comments here, Lucy Resident. I'm not sure who Lucy Resident is. I wonder if it's my Lucy. Oversharing. But yeah, it's funny because like how Aaron and I are is we were just talking about this too. Is when she asks something, me to do something, I kind of follow up with questions just to make sure, one, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and because I just want to have as much knowledge and information as possible to complete the task at hand. And when I would ask her, she's like, why do I have to always and she's watching the show right now, so she's obviously she commented in. Why do I always have to give you so many answers for all these questions? And I'm like, here it is. Love that. No is a complete sentence. I know she's typing out right now, but yeah, it's really really funny how like that would happen. But like yeah, I'm the same way. Like before I give the answer, if I'm gonna be able to do it, yeah, I gotta know the information. Aaliyah Foxdale.
Hi,
Okay.
Aaliyah.
Thank
She's
you
my
for checking in.
friend.
Oh, cool. All right, cool. Thank
Yep.
you for checking in. Greatly cool.
But yeah,
But
you're
yeah,
coming
I
from
went through
it
that
from
too.
the other side, though, Frankie. You're coming from it from wanting more information rather than just giving information that wasn't asked for, feeling like you're not, like doing the right thing unless you can explain your reasons why. Where, because I did, is enough of a reason. You don't need to be like, because this and this and this and this. So I'm trying to retrain myself to not have to feel like I'm not going to be believed unless I can say, and here's this and this and this and this to prove what I'm saying is the truth. That was, a bad habit, I guess, from when I was little.
Yeah, and I'm laughing because of the comment. Eric says, yeah, just do what I'm asking or answer the question I asked, not ask me 3 questions in response.
That's funny.
Another comment here, Paul. Hello, Sid. Thanks for checking in, Paul Busby on Facebook. A lot of good interaction so far. But yeah, like I've always been being the only boy and just having all girls. Like I always felt like the mindset of always having to explain things. And obviously, as I got older, with some of the mistakes I made in life. Like I knew that there was full explanation, and I went through a phase where people didn't believe me. So like breaking the habit of lying and narcissistic tendencies. Like I mean, I'm open about it before. You and I have talked about it. I went through that phase where that was me. So listening to somebody that can be very narcissistic, gaslighting, like people say, well, how would you know? Are you one? And I would absolutely say, yeah, I was one.
You said
Absolutely,
that
I
to
was.
me.
We
Yep.
just talked about it, you and I would say, yeah, absolutely. I went through a lot of therapy, cut out a lot of toxic people in my life, maybe
A
suppository or two,
suppository or two.
suppository or two. I couldn't even say it. I keep saying
And that's
depository.
not a depository, but that's another good habit, is cutting out toxic people. And that's
Yeah,
something that I'm working on now, because I know me personally, I never want to hurt anybody else's feelings. So I will sit there and allow myself to be abused because I don't want to hurt the abuser. And that's not the way to go through life. We need to
no.
have boundaries. I like to say, I'm soft in my heart, but firm in my boundaries. So, I will do anything for you if you are treating me properly,
Yeah.
and
I,
that's a habit that takes practice. I don't know why bad habits are so easy and good habits are so freaking hard. I will eat
isn't that funny?
cheddar and sour cream chips with bacon and horseradish dip every day of my life.
That sounds
But if
really good.
you put a piece of kale in front of me, I will it's not happening. Like, and I don't know
Preference.
why that is.
Food is tough. Food is one of those tough things. But even in general, like not even habits, like bad people, good people. Like, why is it so difficult to make the right decisions? It may stem back from habit. Um, Gina, that stuff was so good
It
though.
is so
I,
good.
I know I need me some of that. I
And sometimes
I
it's just, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but I
you're
was going
good.
to say sometimes it's a lot harder to do the right thing, because people get judged a lot harder for standing up against wrong if wrong is popular. So,
Yeah. Judgmental. I mean, that comes with just so much. It's like a whole other aspect of like, and that simplify it more or less is like making good decisions. And like I said, I came from a background of like, I didn't see a lot of healthy relationships, which then not a lot of great role models in life that I had, but you kind of stem to like toxic relationships because that's what you're so used to. And
it's what you're in the
God,
habit of.
it's exactly what you're in the habit of, and as crazy as it sounds, having all girls, like, there was a long time where I didn't treat women 100% of the way that they absolutely should be treated. I'm guilty of that. That's why, I mean, there's a Facebook page out there that I'm not gonna mention, but you type in Frankie James, my name will come up, and I know that, and I've owned it, and I went through a lot of therapy to, like, make better choices, and the reason why I'm not, plugging that group is because I'm planning on doing a show about that group.
It's a secret.
It's a secret.
But I was going to
But
say a little bit about your family growing up, because I don't know if you shared that on my show, but definitely not on this episode. Just so when you say it was all girls, like, what does that mean specifically?
so I grew up in a household with 7 sisters, and I am the only boy. Um, Second oldest, I have one that's older than me, and then we just had a bunch of other things. And no, Paul, it's not OnlyFans though. But I'll send you my sub. I'm just joking. Just joking. Um,
So what you're saying is you used to stock tampons and chocolate that you would throw at everyone and run out the door. Is that what your upbringing was?
Yeah, literally. I told you how annoying I like to be. Um, but yeah, like I it was it wasn't tough growing up with all girls. I mean, thank God I went to an all boys high school. Like I had to be the guy. I told you I had to be the dude. But yeah, I mean, even having all girls with my upbringing, like there was a time where I wasn't even exactly great to women. People are surprised about because I have all girls, but yeah, I was the only boy. It just was a sea of women. It was a sea of women. It really was. So that's a little bit about my background when I say I have all girls such.
I just wanted you to explain what that meant, because if somebody didn't know that,
Yeah,
they'd probably be like, "Wait, what? Were you like in an orphanage and it was Annie and Miss Hannigan and you, or like what?"
I was
Was
the
it a
lead
hard knock
singer.
life for you?
You know what? It was. Everybody thinks I was always so spoiled, and like I absolutely wasn't. It was. I mean, I got a good Catholic education. Like my best friend, who is on my wall behind me with all the rest of my other photos, like he's the reason why I got to play hockey. God rest his soul. He's one of my best friends. I went to the judge with. Like he gave me a lot of my equipment that I played. So I wasn't spoiled whatsoever. And a lot of the habits that like I learned as a child growing up and then eventually had to break um in the adult world with relationships was like being so used to a lot of toxicity to where now 30 years old, you think like it's like in your mindset, what's good, what's bad, then why do I keep making those bad wrong decisions? And at first, it's just like this is natural. Like I would go into relationships already with failure on my mind. And just because which eventually would come like a whole other story is like I went through like a lot of self-worth issues. So I always the one never felt like I was good enough for a serious relationship like that and like long term. And then just seeing how things were growing up, and then knowing that I had to make those changes. God, I feel like probably within the last year, I felt like I'm at like probably damn near close to like the best version of myself from a lot of the habits that I needed to break. I'm 34. I mean, like I said, a year. And don't get me wrong, I went through, and you and I have talked about it, and we'll save that for another time. Went through so much to where if I didn't make these breaking these habits of, a lot of the things that I was doing that were hurting people, like I probably wouldn't be here. Those of you that don't know, big mental health guy, mental health podcast. I had two major suicide attempts in 3 years. And a lot of those stemmed from a lot of decisions that I had made, a lot of the self worth issues, a lot of people that I was hurting where I didn't want to be here anymore. So going into like this year, close to those anniversary dates, of so to speak, which was like in April, right around my birthday, it's been a really good year. Broke a lot of those habits, broke off from a lot of those relationships, keep a small circle, um, and learn new habits, but good habits. Like the time I've been able to get to hang out and spend with Sid, just whether it be doing podcasts, doing content, she's in my circle, she's in my trust. We don't just talk about podcasts. We always check up on each other and see what's going on. We're always going back and forth, except for Mondays and Tuesdays, unless we have an emergency. But I mean, you've been able to show me different things, and just like people that don't remember, and I'll pass it back over to you. Sid and I met at a 93.3 WMMR President Steve event. I said a few words to her. I took a picture. I helped her get in line. Remember, I helped them say, "No, go stand right
Yep,
here."
so I
You guys
can
were the
use like
first ones,
yep.
and 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 that's how this kind of started, and we just stayed in touch. And I'm going to make see this comment here from Jen Kraft. Hurt people. Great job identifying it and working to fix it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And
And
you're
I
right.
also like the flip side of that is healed people heal people. And
Really well
so
said.
that's why, you know, I've definitely, and first of all, thank you for sharing that personal side of you. I appreciate that, because that's very personal, and I appreciate that you would share that with everybody listening.
Of
Um,
course.
but yeah, I know I'm very open about the struggles that I have with my own mental health, with depression and anxiety. And I talk about that openly all the time, because some of the habits that I've put in place, I get up every morning, and of course I got to take care of the fur babies first, but once they're taken
Woof,
care of,
woof.
exactly. Don't get them out here. They're asleep
I
with
know.
you.
I think that they
Um,
heard me.
I'm like, Muffy's going to be like, is that my friend Frankie? Um, Once I take care of them, and of course, Stanton Amadeus Fluffernutter, we can't forget the guinea pig. I go in the kitchen and I sit down, and while I'm having my pre-workout, I do my planner and my journal. And I do that every morning, because for me, the habit of journaling helps me mentally to not only just dump things that are on my mind that might be negative, but also to kind of be a way to document the happy things too. So when I go back, I can see, oh yeah, like little details that I wouldn't have remembered if I didn't take the time to write them down. So those are some positive habits that I've shared, not only in the book, but also on my social media to help other people, because it's an easy thing to do. You can get a notebook for $1. It doesn't have to be a fancy journal, and just write it down.
I
What are
love
you
that.
laughing at my in the book? Or is that what you're
No,
laughing?
the comments. It's hard because I keep in mind, everybody. I produce the show, so I'm also doing a lot of different things. But it's just you got some kind words here. It's very commendable to admit your faults. I appreciate that. This was great. FY, my dog just ran to the TV when I barked, so
Fluffy.
I was laughing about that.
You should see her dog. Frankie is so cute, Fluffy.
Yeah.
She calls him Velcro because he's always on her.
I love that. I fell asleep major. Positive affirmation works for me. Well, I just had
Oh,
it up there.
thank
If you
you, Paul.
want some great positive affirmations, follow Sydnee A for our Facebook page. We got the social medias right there. We recently just talked about a buddy of mine that literally started to follow Sid because of her daily affirmations and the help that it's been able to, get him through the day. And like just little things like that is one why I'm so open about everything that I went through. Because that's what it's all about in my eyes. Anyway, I just try to share my story, and it goes deep with people to like kind of help them also resonate. Like habits of even and we'll transition to this if you don't mind. Just like the habits of even like males from going from not talking about mental health and not dealing with a lot of things to breaking that habit and starting to open up. Even for women with domestic violence situations, like I know I'm a male, but like I have been on that realm of within a domestic violence case where I was the victim, and I like women that speak up and talk about things to one spread awareness, but also get justice. Like we don't have to go too far into it, but
Oh no,
like I
did
said,
you come back? Oh, there you are. I think you froze for a second.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was like, oh no, come back. But no, you're absolutely right about speaking up, and it can be very scary, and in some cases your safety's at risk. So you need
Exactly.
to go through the right channels. So, I do appreciate you bringing up that aspect of things as well, because
Sure.
sometimes it's not as easy as we'll talk about it, because,
It's not.
there's some really bad people out there.
There is. Evil is out there, and I'm sure we'll have more episodes where more people will learn about me. And like, yeah, there's evil out there. That's for sure. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
but the affirmations are another part of my morning habit. And I do it because it helps me, and I do it online because it helps other people. And I appreciate hearing from your friend, from Paul, from, the people that watch every morning and send me a little note. Those cards were a gift from a Facebook friend I've never met in real life, but she
Love that.
knew that I was doing positive affirmations and mailed them to me. And that's why I love using them, because they're funny, they're cute, they have little cartoons, and I love sharing that. But it's also like a way to uplift her and say thank you. And I'm thinking of you every morning because you thought of me and sent me this gift, which is really nice. So
Pay it forward. That movie was actually an incredible movie. Very underrated, if you ask me. And if everybody can follow that in life, like just pay it forward. Like I don't know. There's been times so much where I'd pay for the guy's coffee behind me at Wawa, just like bring that in, like just walk away. So he'll be like,
yep.
"Oh, thanks." I'm like, "No problem. Have a good day," and just keep it moving. Like if you could do it, if you could, I don't want to say it doesn't cost anything to be a good person, because obviously I just told that story, so that would be like wrong transition. But like, it doesn't cost anything to be nice or be kind. Like I make these posts sometimes with my photography page, like of all the things that you could do to help a small business by sharing, by liking, by inviting friends to follow, even if you're not, I wasn't not supportive of it, but like even if like you're not fully invested, or like you might have like your 2 cents about how people could be doing things. What's a like and share going to do? I mean, maybe if you like and share the post from here, like here, now and then, and then you had an opinion about how things were being done, maybe your opinion would probably be taken a little bit more seriously. But if you're not showing any support, if you're not doing any of that, but then you still have like the habit of just still vocalizing your opinion, but show no support, it starts to trend to like almost like drinking a haterade kind of thing, and then that can also hurt someone's feelings. So that's kind of like my take on that, and like overall, like the breaking the habit conversation, I think was a really really good topic on your end tonight.
Oh, thank you. Because like to me, and again, I say this all the time, is I'm a golden rule person, and that's really as simplified as life can be. Is just treat other people the way that you want to be treated. So whether it's, I say this all the time, smile in public, hold open a door, it doesn't cost anything. Like you said, like and share people online. Like I love giving good reviews. If like there was a kid at the Acme, which is our local market, if you're not from around here, in the self-checkout area, and he was
Love the
so nice.
self-checkout.
He was just so nice and friendly. And he like, we kind of had a little laugh because he was standing there and I was standing behind him, and he's like, that one's open. I'm like, aren't you next? He's like, I work here. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just thought you were waiting. Absolutely, Paul. I'm going to read that in 1 second. So please leave that up for me, Frankie.
Yes.
I was like, I thought you worked here. And he's like, no. And like, we just had a little chit chat, and he was just so nice. And well, can I help you with anything? I'm like, I have it, but you have a great day. He's like, you have a really nice day too. And like, it was just a really nice exchange. So I made sure to give him a good review, because so often we're in the habit of trashing people when they do things the wrong way, instead of making sure to put a good review for somebody that was friendly or did their job nice, or, especially if they go above and beyond. So my friend Paul, who's awesome, said it's a trust thing, and I'm not sure why, but I've never met you for real, but I feel like I've known you forever, like an old friend that haven't known each other all that long. And I feel the same. Like Paul's one of those people that when I see he leaves a comment, I smile. Like he's good energy. And I appreciate the people in my life that are giving me good energy, and I hope that I'm returning that favor.
Yeah, you couldn't have said that any better. The big energy guy. Like I've been around people, and very kind words by Paul, because I've been following your stuff now for a little bit, and like it's right. Like I mean, obviously we get to do things. Obviously, it's the podcast and stuff like that. But I can put myself in Paul's shoes, and going through your journey of your affirmations, you learn about people that way, and it's it's really nice. Feeling is mutual.
Thank you. Feeling is mutual. You're a sweetheart.
I know you can see the comments. Actually, it's funny because like you have the tab screen, so you can actually see them.
I finally realized that I could see the comments too, and I put them on like halfway through what we've been talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I just flashed them up.
Grown up on this podcast, and I can see the comments too.
Yeah. Yes, Erica says yes to the golden rule.
It's my fucking podcast.
Yeah, right. My dad has this recited each night before bed. Yeah. I have never heard her recite it before.
Don't be calling air out. Maybe she recites it in her head and she's not inviting you.
That also might be true. We're probably up to a podcast and things. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Breaking the habit was a good one. Let's shall we transition?
I think we should. So
okay.
Would you like to share our sponsor?
Absolutely. Learn to Go-Go, the podcast, is brought to you by Everything I Learned in Go-Go, the book.
Everything I need to know, I learned in Go-Go.
Everything I need to... I'm doing this totally off the fly. This is why I love a good live show. The podcast is brought to you by Everything I Learned in Go-Go. Everything I need to know, I learned in Go-Go. Get yourself a copy. Follow her social media. You can buy a copy of the book on www.learningogo.com. Make sure you get yourself a copy. I am slowly but surely getting through it. Can't wait to finish it so I can finally praise to Sydnee A that I've finished the book, because she's always like, "Oh, I guess you didn't get to that chapter yet."
It's beefy. I'll give you credit. I talk a lot, so
hearing the I guess you didn't get to that chapter yet. I'm really like, damn.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I said that. If you had actually read the book, you would know that.
Yeah.
But it's because I like to tease you about it. It's all in love.
I know. It makes me want to continue to keep reading the book, but Yeah, we're going to dive into the next segment, which is a little fun, and thank you everyone for tuning in so far. Make sure this is the Learn to Go the podcast, episode 3, I believe.
Yes.
We thank you for everybody for joining, and having me be a little bit more part of it.
No,
Let's
I
not forget
appreciate you jumping up and being my guest and my co-host tonight. So
guest co-host producer. Once again, we want to send a little one more plug for the Great Media Comic Con. We are going to both be a part of that in a little bit different way, but I think in a really, really, really cool way. Get your tickets for that. That's still important. We're just doing our dirty laundry right now, everybody. Just getting all the sponsors like we're in a real radio show. But yeah, we'll transition to
we're
something really
golden
cool.
ruling our podcast. We're treating it like we want to be treated.
Woo! I love it, and that's the fun about it. So yeah, we'll transition and we'll hit it with our next topic will be
It's stripper cinema.
strippers, 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 strippers.
All right, and this
That was
week
pretty good.
we are going to review From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes, we will be. We'll be reviewing From Dusk Till Dawn, which was released in 1996, January 19th, 1996. The director was Robert Rodriguez. Stars George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Harvey Keitel, Salma Hayek actually also has a part in it, and Cheech Marin, who actually plays 3 different parts on that. I know this all while I'm looking at the camera because this is one of my favorite movies, so I am looking forward to talking about this. And since it's going to be such a good movie, we're going to bring us back through time, and we're going to watch the trailer from the movie to kind of lead into our conversation. So let's get ready to do that right now. Here is the trailer from 1996, Quentin Tarantino's From Dusk Till Dawn, and Robert Rodriguez.
Everybody be cool. You be cool. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Low profile. You understand the meaning of the words low profile?
Sure. 2 of America's most dangerous criminals have taken hostages.
What is this? It's called a punch. I'm going to ask you one question, and all I want is a yes or no answer. Do you want to live through this?
Yes.
Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
One night is all that stands between them and freedom.
This is my kind of place.
But it's going to be one hell of a night.
We might be in trouble. There are a bunch of fucking vampires out there trying to get in here and suck our fucking blood.
Now, their only chance is to fight back.
Oh, yeah!
Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Juliette Lewis.
Welcome to slavery.
No, thanks. I already had a wife.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
So good. Okay, so funny background about this. I watched this with Dave on Tuesday, I believe, which is the second time I've ever seen this movie. And the first time was in the last 5 years, which the people who are watching right now who grew up with me know I have loved vampires since I saw The Lost Boys in the 80s. I am such a vampire head. I have a bottle of wine that's a vampire brand I bought in New Orleans in the 90s. Like, I love vampires. And my friends could not believe I've never seen that movie. And I don't know why it took me so long to see it, but I absolutely love it. And I have a friend named Adam. I asked his permission to share his comment when I posted that I was watching the movie on Tuesday. So I'm reading this one. So sorry, guys. I just didn't want to screw up what he said. He's a year older than me. So we were in college in the 90s, to give you a little background. He said, fact, this movie was playing in the common room at my college one day. I had already seen it. One of my friends watched from the beginning until the border crossing, then had to go to class. Another of my friends showed up around the same time and only watched from the border crossing until the end. Later, said two friends discussed what they saw of the film, and it went something like this. Friend 1, I liked what I saw. Clooney makes a good gangster. Friend 2, I thought the vampire effects were pretty great. That guy with the gun in his crotch is the SFX guy. Friend 1, vampires? So this movie is really like two separate, completely different situations in one movie. And we're going to discuss like that part of it and then some of our favorite parts as well. So love all of the characters in this. It's such a fantastic cast. Starting with George Clooney, like it's funny to see how young everybody is now. Danny Trejo, like in that trailer, when excuse me, when I first saw him, I was like, Danny Trejo is a baby. Like he just looks so young in this movie. And same with Quentin Tarantino. So that part's kind of funny if you don't realize how much time has gone by since this movie was released. Everybody is really young. But if you're a Tarantino fan, it's definitely a Quentin Tarantino movie with the gore and the intelligence behind some of the things as well. So what was your favorite scene in the movie, Frankie? What part, like when I say From Dusk Till Dawn, what immediately pops into your head?
Oh, dude, there's so this is like one of my favorite movies. So when you were asking me, there's a couple of things. They're little tiny things, but just the way that they are. So Julie Lewis, what's her name again? I'm sorry.
Juliette Lewis.
Juliette Lewis. What was her name in the movie? I can't remember.
Kate.
Yeah. So
she's like, "Hi, I'm Kate. Sex
Yeah.
Machine. Nice to meet you." Like
that's my favorite part. That's
your favorite part.
Yeah, Kate. It's like Sex Machine. Pleasure to meet you.
And like the crotch gun that Sex Machine has. If you haven't seen the movie,
I don't know why I just backed up to show everybody my crotch. By the way, sorry about that.
My train just crashed. Now, if you haven't seen the movie and you have seen Paul Rubens in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and you have seen the Sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood Men in Tights, it's as if the two of them had a baby and he's wearing leather pants that flip down with a gun in the crotch that just like kind of pops up like. So I don't know where the trigger is. I didn't ask. There's got to be some. It just kind of shoots out. It just
kind of happened.
His name is Sex Machine.
Sex Machine. A long way from Christmas Vacation, says Paul. We have some laughs on here from GM Brower. And then Paul sometimes the makeup budget must have been through the roof. Yeah.
Well, that was the thing when we were talking about this earlier. I said this movie is unique in that typically, and like I said, my vampire movie obsession started with The Lost Boys. Being a tween girl at the time, like Kiefer Sutherland and Brooke McCarter, and like they were fucking hot. And these vampires are not. They are like
no.
Bleh. If you ever
Selma
did you ever
Hayek.
see but Selma Hayek
went from this hottie to that creature where she's like, "Welcome to slavery," and she just turns.
Well, the thing is, if she didn't give that 5-minute speech, she would have killed him. But she had to go run in her mouth and gave him the chance to shoot her. Like
she had a lot to say. She
can say whatever she wants. Swoon. She is gorgeous, and when she comes out with that
and all hot. I don't know if Paul's referring to Salma Hayek here or just the.
I think he means the vampires.
We're gonna need confirmation on this. Confirmation from us, well, please.
Yeah, because Salma Hayek is so hot in this movie.
Yeah, bro.
She's still hot now.
Yeah.
But when she comes out with the snake, and so okay, a couple points. First, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I rate movies. You will get immediate points off for licking poles. No one licks a go-go pole. Nasty, nasty, nasty. You can't take points up. There was not a pole in this entire club. So they were safe on that. But my other question is...
And it was a titty bar because it was called the Titty Twister.
The Titty Twister.
The Titty Twister.
Exactly. And I love Cheech's speech. I can do the entire speech. I said I've seen the movie twice. but there was a techno song they made out of his speech that they used to play at the bar where I worked. So I can do the entire speech that he does out there about, we're slashing pussy in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pussy, pussy, pussy.
Come on in, pussy lovers. So
it's so
love
great.
Cheech. Cheech is so great in all three, whether he's the border patrol cop, the bouncer, or Carlos at the end. I love that he got 3 roles in this movie. Post makeup Selma. Yeah, exactly. So Paul's agreeing with us that she's a hottie boom body before she's a vampire, not hot vampire at all.
Okay.
But I was thinking about the movie, and I had a very serious question, because she comes out with this snake and she's very sexy. There's the snake and there's her being very sexy. And then the snake's gone and everything goes down and they leave. What happened to the snake? Is the snake okay? I'm worried about the snake.
That this, this is a big question. We were talking about this earlier, because snakes could probably live a long time. And this snake, I have no idea. I want to hear from the audience.
I'm assuming it's rat infested, so the snake is probably fine.
Do you think the titty twins are still open? Maybe we get an interview with someone down there.
I don't know. It looked like it turned into a stripper. Okay, Gina said the snake turned into a stripper. Is that true or is that sarcastic? Because it's absolutely something that could have happened.
These are big time. I wonder if she really knows. We got I didn't do it.
She's laughing. She doesn't know for sure.
I know. I got the color.
No, there were twins though. I noticed in the credits, 2 of the strippers were twins. So I want to go back and try and peg who was twins in this.
Sorry. Yeah.
Thinking about stripper twins and your mind just wandered there for a second.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were about Peg Leg. There maybe might have been a pirate. A pirate stripper.
Maybe.
I saw one scene that there were.
Her name is Barbie.
Barb, yeah. I saw the one. I think the one zombie was actually giving a suppository to the other one. I think I saw the trailer, which really threw me off. It goes back to what you were saying about the 2 different movies.
Yes,
and
that sounds like 2 movies in a commercial.
2 girls, 1 cup. They're not a sponsor, by the way. They're not. That's what it was. That's another movie.
Yeah, we're not ever reviewing that on my show.
Sorry, I was just reading my notes here, and From Dusk Till Dawn, 2 girls. Yeah, so different movie. Everybody, sorry about that.
Yes, but no, overall, this movie is freaking fantastic. I absolutely recommend it. It's very violent. It's Quentin Tarantino, but I think it has a lot of surprises, a lot of laughs, a lot of like drama. You'll get stressed out at certain parts. What's that?
Great cast.
Oh, great cast. Phenomenal cast. Like every time you think you know everybody, then there's somebody else you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they're in there too. I bet you were.
Slow down, Turbo. Yeah, I get excited. You ain't right. Yeah, I know.
That's funny.
That's just I was reading my wrong notes, but I give if we're gonna do the grading scale, I love this movie so much. This isn't
absolutely.
I'll be fair because we're probably going to talk about other movies, but like so as a movie itself, this is like an 8.3 for me, but as a stripper cinema movie, it's probably on like the 4.3 because there wasn't really much involvement with the strippers, but once they got into the club, it made it so good. But like comparing to Showgirls, which that movie surrounded themselves around the industry and et cetera, I'll give it a 4.7 on the stripper scale. But overall movie to watch without the children, it's like an 8.6 for me. Such a good flick. It's so good.
So are you moving my scale from 5 thongs to 10? Is that why we have an 8.3 or is it 8.3 out of 5?
I just screwed everything up. Then, to be honest with you, welcome to the live show, everybody. So yeah, you're giving thongs out. Yeah, so I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 3.4 on the thong scale, and then it's probably like a 1.2 on the thong scale of overall stripper movie.
Yeah, and that's fair. And another point is I've never seen vampires die so easily as they do in this movie too, which was kind of comical. And why are they green inside?
It's
so
because it could have been because of the suppository. No, I really don't know.
Are they alien vampires? Maybe they're caterpillars.
Maybe we should get Quentin Tarantino on the show and ask him. Like,
if
I'll
anyone knows Quentin Tarantino and can get him on this show, please.
Oh well, I'll just email.
I'll show him my
PR
feet.
team.
That's what he's all about, the foot fetish. I'll be like, here's my feet. Come on my show. I don't care.
We talked about some of the things. So a couple of little tidbits for you about Quentin Tarantino film. I already shared this with Sid. So he focuses a lot on like sound and noise with his directing. Like when he directs movies, like if you remember the Pulp Fiction scene where the girl had to get the shot of adrenaline in her, and when they're coming down, all you do is hear the do 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 do, and it's really slow, and then all of a sudden it gets hard. Like you notice a lot, and next time you watch a Quentin Tarantino film, keep an eye on certain little things like that because that's like how you know, like that's one of his films. Plus he plays in a lot of them as well. But yeah, great cast. That's my rating for the for this one. It was incredible.
Yeah, as a movie overall, I would give it like a 4.8 thongs overall because it's just an awesome fucking movie.
So
it really is. And same, strippers aren't that. I mean, they're an integral part of the. Is my mic muted?
No, I'm sorry. You're good.
Oh.
You're good.
I was like, wait a minute. Because it wouldn't be the same storyline if they didn't go to the titty twister. So I would give them like a 4. I'd give them more than you did because without them, that entire second half of the movie would not be what it is.
It was just so well done. Like you said, it started out as 2 stories. Like even Pulp Fiction, I think there's like 4 stories going on in that movie. Like Bruce Willis is in it with his own scene. It's really weird.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have like a break off podcast of just Tarantino stuff. Oh, yeah, I think we're back. We keep freezing.
Oh, we're back. No, we're back.
I don't know.
Some. Yeah, we're good. It doesn't go anywhere. I can see it. It runs through
cool.
me, so that's good. But yeah, stripper cinema. I loved it. It was awesome.
Right. So that was our stripper cinema. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to talk about real quick about that movie that was like a more serious note was when George Clooney tells Harvey Keitel, who I fucking love in Little Nicky, side note. Harvey Keitel plays a minister who has lost his faith after his wife died. And George Clooney explains to him that in that situation with the vampires, who neither of them believe in, but they believe their own eyes. They say, like, I don't believe in vampires, but I believe my own eyes, and this is what I'm seeing. And George Clooney tells him, you know, we don't need a man who's lost his faith, but if you believe, you have the power to make this tap water into a weapon, and you have the power to make things happen. And I thought that was a really cool thing about belief, like just in general. You know, I always say what you believe you can achieve with the right amount of work. But I just wanted to point that out too, because that was just a line in the movie that jumped out at me, was when he was talking about, now we need a pastor who believes, because your belief is power. So whether you're a pastor or a podcaster or whatever. So
or both.
Yeah. Cool. So to wrap up, I'm thrilled. I'm loving this live shit, by the way, like having the comments and like all this. Yes, or a stripper, Paul. What you believe you can achieve. You are correct.
Are you saying the comments before I put them on the screen?
I am keeping you on your game. That's the dangerous part of me being able to see the comments.
I'm shutting that off.
But
you have to let.
I'm losing my comment privileges.
I have to be able to put them on the screen, because if you're reading them, then never mind. Welcome to a live show, everybody. Wrap up.
Cool. So, again, thank you everybody who is joining this live, who is participating, and thank you to everybody who's catching it after the fact that wasn't able to join it live. This is so much fun. I am having a blast on this adventure, and I love taking all of you with me. I appreciate you all so much. So, thank you. So every week, if you haven't seen any of my podcasts yet, I like to do what I call the Ass-ignment for the week. So I want to give you something to think on, but on top of that, I want you to be able to participate on my social media. And the first couple weeks, I thought I had a really good idea, but guess what? It sucked. So I'm going to try this a different way now. I'm going to give you your Ass-ignment, and then I'm going to pin at the top of my Sydnee page and my Sydnee author page if I can, and my Sydnee Instagram, which is all down here. I will put the question of the week and you can answer in there, because up until now I've been like, tag me, and it's been a little bit more confusing. So this week, since we're talking about habits, I want you to share with me either a bad habit that you want to break or a good habit that you want to start. And that's it. You can give me as much information or as little as you want, but just comment it under the pin post. I'll get these up after the show wraps, and I'm sure we're going to be BSing a little bit, and then I'll get it up. So if not tonight, tomorrow, settle. I know what I just said, and that's not what I meant. But I will get the post up, and you guys can comment. So the other exciting news I have is that there has been someone who has been commenting on my Ass-ignments for the past couple weeks. So we have our first winner of a book, and that is Danielle. Thank you so much. I will get this to you, and you can tell me who you would like it personalized to. But congratulations, this is your copy. And I'll be taking a winner, probably not weekly, but like every couple weeks, and I will mail it to you. I'll pick, hopefully I get so many comments that I need to randomly choose somebody. That's the dream. So please participate and follow me on my social media, and please share this podcast, and like and subscribe and review and all the things the kids are talking about. I don't know, I'm old, but I really want you to love this as much as I do. And thank you. Am I forgetting anything, Frankie?
Oh, it was a great episode. Stay tuned for next week. And yeah, it was awesome. Thanks for having me be a part of it.
And as always, I want you to make sure you take your life head on, because when you stick your head in the sand and try to hide like an ostrich, you think you're hiding, but the rest of the world just sees a big ass. Love ya.